I have one other thing, topic, conversation, a point which I would like to make this morning while I am in the mood and on a roll here. So, my beef with the Mormon Belief. I mean, we're supposed to believe that an angel of heaven descended to this man, Joseph Smith, and gave him the location for some golden plates, a record of, a tribe from the Middle East here in North America, in which is a record of their peoples having traveled and their experiences here, on the continent. Well, let us first look at the intrinsic characteristics most uniformly believed to be attributed to God. Does it really seem fitting that God himself would expose such a truth, such a knowledge to only one individual? And personally, I myself say no. Literally, the manifestation of the love of God is something in which all mankind can experience themselves by literally opening up their eyes and beholding the world before them. There you go. There you have it. There's the ultimate proof of love right before you at this very moment. You don't need some, a book of gold. And in my honest opinion, literally the whole story, how it's built up and set up, if you actually use, comparable statistics here, I think that it's more probable that literally some organization, it's a conspiracy that's been set up where this organization literally, forged this entire event, all of the prejudice, all of the tragic events which occurred and took place to literally formulate this organization in which there could be, a hierarchy of holy individuals in which they could then profit upon. I mean, does it not seem more fitting to explain the events in that manner rather than the explanation which is actually given? And if we, rationally actually analyze the events, even though I think both are highly unlikely, the one in which a conspiracy explains the events actually seems a lot more likely when you take into consideration how the events are actually told and what we are given to be the truth and what these people actually accept to be the truth. I mean, if you actually dive deeper into the research here and you say and you question and you ask and you might think, why did Joseph Smith not turn over these documents to, proper authorities? And then there's a rebuttal which immediately presents itself, and the angel says, only you can be the one to bring forth these truths into the light of the world and be a shining star of blessedness and virtue upon the people, right? Well, that being said, I don't think that Joseph Smith has literally been the holiest individual to ever exist. When we take into consideration our vast amount of knowledge in consideration to the greatest people that ever were. And to think that there weren't good people back in the time of Joseph Smith in the surrounding area is definitely a fallacy in thinking. And literally then the picture itself starts to fall apart. As soon as we say, hey, wait, there's been museums set up for a long time which there are other very intriguing artifacts to showcase the greatness of humanity and our ideals and personifications of God, which have been housed and contained very safely within these places and by these people and individuals. And they are there for the world to see and for the world to behold and for the world to then believe and build their standards of belief upon and become a better, a mightier, a stronger, more united people. So why do we not see this documentation fall into the hands of a place in which the public could view, and a public could make then their own decision based upon what it was that they saw, what it was that they read, and all of these other things? See, as soon as you start taking all of this stuff into consideration, then the entire picture that you must believe falls apart. And it makes much more sense that there would be this, made up story so as to maintain a sense of control upon those which you can persuade to believe. Because as soon as you get people to discard their logic and reason, and you can pass forth a story to be true which is not, then all of a sudden you open yourself up to behold more lies and to entangle people within this web of lies and feed off of them like a spider. And the people themselves discard their logic and their reason, and they are more open and available to be accepting to whatever is told to them, and they are more willing to give to the cause without question, because their question means nothing. They cannot understand. They themselves cannot reason. They do not have the logical capacity to know. They themselves are not worthy enough. So, do you really think that God would impose this sort of presence upon peoples and individuals? If we ourselves believe and accept what the majority of religions within the depths of their heart actually believe their God to be, in most cases, the goodness of God would not itself be what it is that we see here. And so, that being said, I think it's much more likely that there's, a conspiracy in place which some gigantic organization wanted to set up headquarters and, portrayed all of these images and experiences for its own benefit and gain. Like, even though that's ridiculous in nature, like if we compare, the story itself to the possibility of this being the case in regards to the actual story that is believed by those who are a part, then it's not too far-fetched to think the other than what is being, embellished.